When I got married, my dad was strongly against it, but because I was madly in love, he eventually agreed on one condition. He made me promise not to reveal my rich background. I agreed and started living like an ordinary person, with Ethan, who knew that he couldn't handle it, and found himself a rich woman. Fine, I didn't mind that you were poor, but now you think I'm too poor. All right, go beg with your rich woman on the street. I was planning to pick up the new car next week. I had just hung up with Ethan and opened an app to research cars. Suddenly my bedroom door was kicked open. Cindy stormed in furious. I had never seen her like this before. Usually we were all one happy family. Seeing me frozen in shock, she barely controlled her temper and snapped. Ivan, I heard you're buying a car. I finally reacted, calmly correcting her. Mom, it's not me who wants to buy a car. It's Ethan who needs one. She realized she had overreacted. Avon cars are expensive to maintain. Ethan works at construction sites all the time, so buying a car isn't practical. I didn't think much of it and just laughed it off. Ethan feels bad having to ride a little scooter when we visit my family during the holidays, especially in the rain. Plus, it's inconvenient not having a car when I'm at home. Before I could finish, Cindy cut me off loudly. You're a stay-at-home wife. What convenience do you need? I was completely stunned. I clearly remembered how Cindy always claimed to treat me like her own daughter, but now she could actually say something like this. I lost my temper and snapped back. This was Ethan's decision. If you have a problem, take it up with him. No matter what. You two are not buying a car. You have no right. You don't deserve it. Cindy threw those words at me and slammed the door behind her as she stormed out. I don't deserve it. I'm not worthy. I kept turning those words over in my mind. It was just a car. How is it worth this much drama? I didn't understand. Whatever. Let Ethan handle his mom. I tried calling Ethan, busy. Half an hour later, still busy. Fine, I won't interrupt mother and son bonding time. I put my phone down and took a nap. When I woke up, I heard Cindy calling my father-in-law, Samuel, and Emily to dinner in the living room. She didn't call me, but it didn't matter. I had got the nerve. Not rushing to dinner as a sign of laziness after all. I quickly opened the door and headed to the dining room. Clearly my arrival caused a stir. Cindy seemed pleased for some reason. She handed me some vegetables with a smile. Ivan, you're such a good girl. Once you have my first grandchild, I'll make sure Ethan buys you a car in a couple of years. Samuel chimed in. Yeah, if you need the car urgently, just ask me. You can borrow mine. I just stared at them, speechless. Emily jumped in. I don't know what you're thinking, Ivan. You're home all day. What do you need a car for? It's just a waste of money. Good thing mom and dad are in charge. Eat more and talk less. Cindy quickly gave Emily a look and handed her a big piece of pork rib. I honestly couldn't understand what was going on. Did they even hear themselves? Dad, Mom, you must be mistaken. We're picking up the car next week. No need to wait 2 years. The mood at the table instantly became heavy, the tension almost suffocating. Cindy's expression changed immediately. You think you can buy a car? Let's see if you've got the guts for it. I held back my anger and went back to my room. There I saw a message. Ethan had sent me 2 hours earlier on WhatsApp. Babe, how about we delay buying the car for a couple of years? No call, no voice message, no explanation. Just a few words. Undoing a decision we'd spent a whole week discussing. My anger hit its peak. My hands trembled as I repeatedly dialed his number, but there was still no answer. I put my phone down, suddenly realizing that this was a big performance, orchestrated by the whole family. Wow, I must have been blind all along. Ethan and I met in college. Like every cliché campus love story, he was drawn to me on a lazy afternoon, falling for my charm. From that point on, he chased me relentlessly. In a year, he won me over. My head was filled with love, and we secretly got married right after graduation. This decision kept my father awake for 2 days. My dad is a real estate mogul and Tanaxes. He retired as soon as I started college, leaving all the business to my brother, while he and my mom moved back to a quiet village in Cavell. They've been living a peaceful life ever since, keeping a low profile. My parents always taught my brother and me not to flaunt our wealth. I followed that advice, living like any other average person. But that didn't mean my family was thrilled with me marrying Ethan, especially since it happened so suddenly. They didn't have time to investigate Ethan or his family, which led to some major friction. But it was too late. My brother scolded me, saying I had lost my mind. I was stubborn, acting out the typical love-struck heroine role. I was crying, throwing tantrums and refusing to back down. Eventually my family forgave me. They agreed to treat Ethan well, but asked me to keep my family's wealth a secret. We were supposed to live a simple life until Ethan passed their test and became accepted as part of the family. They said it wouldn't take long, and after that, I could come back to the company and get some shares. I agreed. The first time I brought Ethan to my home was right after we got our marriage certificate. Samuel's car had been borrowed by his brother. Ethan rode a little motorbike, driving us around for 3 hours before we finally made it to my father's well-maintained courtyard. Parked in the yard was my brother's newly bought, beat-up second-hand Volkswagen. I thought, wow, my brother is really suffering to help dad keep a low profile and test Ethan. Poor guy. That day went pretty well. Ethan was humble, polite, and knew when to lend a hand. He helped out with whatever needed doing, without a single complaint. My dad was impressed by him. The next day, my family's newly acquired company hired Ethan, assigning him a piece of land to manage. Ethan studied civil engineering, so he fit right in on the construction site. Once that project was done, my dad planned to officially welcome him into the family. As for me, I had dreams of becoming a writer, so I didn't want to return to the company just yet. I decided to focus on my writing and enjoy the freedom of a freelance lifestyle. The idea of buying a car first came up after that visit to my parents' home. Ethan felt embarrassed driving a motorbike to his in-laws, especially in the cold and rain. Plus, since he was managing a construction project out of town, I'd been left without any means of transport. When he brought it up, I actually considered asking my brother for a car. He had plenty after all. Remembering my promise to keep a low profile, I bit the bullet and decided to live frugally with Ethan. Between the money I saved from writing and his half-year salary, we finally decided to pick out a car. I thought it was a pretty big deal. To show respect, I figured we'd let the family know and celebrate the moment together. Little did I know that while I was excited, the family was far from happy. It was just me who was excited. Everyone else seemed ready to explode. I couldn't help but laugh bitterly to myself. I left the house and grabbed a bite of street food, the cool breeze making me think more clearly. I thought back to when I first met Ethan's parents. They were so kind and welcoming back then. I remembered Cindy holding my hand and saying, "Evan, from now on you're our daughter. If Ethan ever bullies you, you come straight to me and I'll deal with him." When Ethan had to go out of town for work, I planned to go back to my parents' place. But Cindy stopped me. "Ivan, no matter where Ethan is, this is your home. Stay here with me, I'll take care of you." We seemed like one big happy family. When did it all start to change? I think it was the wedding.